Governments collect taxes, companies sell products. That is how the world is supposed to work. But there was a moment when a single company did both, collected taxes from 200 million people, commanded an army larger than Britain's own, and answered to shareholders, not to Parliament. The question is not how that was possible. The question is how long it lasted. You are watching a man sign a treaty. Bengal, June 23, 1757. His name is Robert Clive. He is not a diplomat. He is an employee of a trading company. He has just won a battle that no one in London authorized. What he signs next will change who governs a subcontinent. This is money memory. The past is still running. A private company doesn't need a crown to rule. It just needs a charter, a contract, and enough distance from the people asking questions. The East India Company had all three, and history proves it. The story doesn't begin in India. It begins in London in 1600, when Queen Elizabeth I signed a charter giving merchants exclusive rights to trade in Asia. The British weren't the first. In 1602, the Dutch East India Company, the VOC, had already shown that private investors could fund an empire. The model worked. It just needed the right territory. For 150 years, the company traded. It bought. It negotiated. But in 1756, something changed. At the time, it made sense. The regional ruler of Bengal, called the Nawab, had seized the company's main trading post. The company sent Robert Clive and a private army to take it back. After the Battle of Plassey in June 1757, the new ruler owed his position entirely to the company. He had a title. He had no power. For the following 8 years, the company consolidated its position, and in 1765, it made its move. It purchased the legal right to collect taxes from the nominal sovereign of India, the Mughal emperor. For a payment of 2.6 million rupees, it bought the legal right to tax Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. The revenue in that same year, £2.8 million sterling. The company had bought the right to tax a population, and paid for it with money it had already extracted from that same population. Clive returned to London a wealthy man. And here is where it compounds. Those taxes funded the army. The army enforced the taxes. That is not a coincidence. It is a design. A private company now controlled the fiscal and military apparatus of one of the richest regions on Earth. It had no obligation to reinvest in the land. It had every obligation to maximize returns for shareholders in London. So it did. The company raised tax rates. It extracted grain. It diverted agricultural land to cash crops, indigo, opium, cotton, commodities that could be shipped, sold, and recorded on a balance sheet. By 1800, the company controlled territory larger than Western Europe, administered by a civil service it had trained itself, enforced by a private army of 200,000 soldiers, twice the size of Britain's standing military. It had become what no charter had ever intended, a sovereign power that filed reports, not to a parliament, to investors. The incentive did the rest. No parliament had voted for this. No election had authorized it. No charter had anticipated it. A group of shareholders in London had, across 150 years, built a functioning state, because the numbers made expansion rational at every step. No one voted for this. No one chose it. It simply became the infrastructure everyone depended on. And if this sounds familiar, it should. In the early 20th century, a single American company controlled the railroads, the ports, and the telegraph lines of several Central American nations. The United Fruit Company didn't just sell bananas, it decided which governments survived. In 1954, it helped orchestrate the removal of Guatemala's democratically elected president because he had proposed taxing its land. The mechanism is identical, only the names change. And when that dynamic takes hold, what distorts first is the incentive. What erodes next is the institution. The East India Company was dissolved in 1858 after a military uprising it had helped provoke. The British government absorbed its assets, its debts, and its territory. What looked like an ending was a transfer. And the taxes kept coming. Money memory. The decision outlasted the man.